Hi everyone, this is NXC Plants. I'm Nick, and today I'm going to be talking a little bit about my small plants and propagations. The first plant I want to talk about is this Papillolaminum lagotang ecotype. It's an F2. I've actually had this pap for a pretty long time now. I wanted to highlight it to again show the importance of genetics in these plants. This is close to a 2-year-old seedling, and you can see it's barely grown at all. It's never really rotted or anything, it just does not grow more than one leaf every 4 to 6 months. So yeah, this is again a little Papillolaminum seedling. I'm going to start over here with some butt cuts I took of some Papillolaminum, Indonesian Papillolaminums X luxurians. These were from Dustin, Bags Plants. I'll insert pictures of the parent plants as I go along through these. I've actually grown both of these out myself, and so I can also show what they look like grown out. Pretty happy with them. Excited to grow the butts back. Next here we've got a Papillolaminum hybrid, X Ace of Spades. This one is again from Dustin, Bags Plants. It's starting to show nice dark color. I got this guy a few months back, so it hasn't had the longest time to grow. I don't have any grown out pictures of it, but I'm excited to keep growing this guy from this hybrid batch. My goals for this plant is for it to grow like a hybrid and have the BVEP color. This is another from that same hybrid over here. See, they're already starting to look a little bit different, and you can see the veining from the pappy starting to show. Next, here we have a Cunea lens PM5x3. This is one of 4 I have from this batch. This seedling's starting to get that pretty Cunea texture and ruffling of the petiole. From that same batch are 2 other examples. I left the 4th one in the tent because it wasn't doing anything different. Pulled this guy out so you could see the emergent color these seedlings are getting. And then this one is kind of interesting because it's gone a fair bit more narrow. That beautiful Cunea color and texture is starting to come out. You can see here you got interesting ripples on the petioles. Next, I'm going to talk about the Ace of Spades X Cunea lens. This example is in the prop box because it's a little bit behind, but here are 2 more examples of the Ace of Spades X Cunea lens from Justin Jones. I have to say this batch is taking on the best characteristics of both parents. You got beautiful red veins, dark shimmery velvetiness from the Ace. So my goals for this plant is I saw this one picture of an Ace of Spades Cunea, and it looked pretty much just like a dark Cunea lens, and I was obsessed. And then when I saw this cross, I knew I had to get a few to try and get a good chance at getting one that sort of looked like what I dreamed of. Been growing these guys since about the end of last year. I like to buy seeds towards the end of the year to grow out through winter, which is why a lot of these are going to have the same roughly age. Okay, next I'm going to talk about the King of Spades. So it's this one here and this one here. I rotted this one, which is why it's so small. This guy over here has just been a bit of a runt. From the same batch, I got these 2 here. One's showing a little bit stronger veination and the other is a bit more minimal. Reason I like to buy a bunch of multiples is for stuff like this, where you get this sort of different appearances. Lets you pick what you like. I'll show you guys the backs. It'll be exciting. This guy's working on another leaf. I imported both of these from Indonesia. They came as little seedlings. Got 4 of them. And like I said, really no issues with the acclimation process or importing. Next, I'm going to talk about this RG number 2 Dressleri from J. Vanini X Self. This Dressleri was created by Grant Abdal. It's a good little seedling. Very excited to grow this one out. It's got a huge mound of roots. I don't know how well you can see, but I'll try and peek. So excited to grow this plant. It's already so velvety, so bumpy, beautiful veins. I'm absolutely thrilled to be growing it. It's been a pretty consistent grower. I'd say no slower than sort of any other seedling. You get a leaf every month or so. And as far as hardiness goes, it's been, I'd say, no different from any of the other seedlings. At one point, it was in the tent in a pot, no cover or anything, when it was significantly smaller than this, and it did fine. I just moved it into here so it would be a bit warmer, more humid, go a little faster. Next to it here, real tiny, is a tissue culture Anthurium Delta Force. I make no claims as to its provenance or eventual appearances or even calling it a Delta Forest. That's just what I purchased it as. The lab looked legitimate, and I grew it not with hopes of getting a Delta Forest, but with hopes of growing out a cool little plant and seeing if the sort of the TC quality was up to snuff. We deflasked this guy about a month ago. Next up here, got to move the Clydemioides jungle, is this BVEP X Ace of Spades from, again, Bags Plants, Dustin. And this other one over here is that same cross. It's been a little bit of a runt. You can see right there, those 3 little leaves. That is the same as this one. And then I had a third one, but that one rotted. First time I've lost a seedling. However, this leaf is spectacularly dark. I'm trying to get it to show better on camera. Absolutely gorgeous. It's starting to get that beautiful blue color. So I'm very excited with what I'm working with here. And this little one, if it stays mini, I might put it in a terrarium or something. Now to just get it out of the way, I think I'm going to talk about the 1 million vines of Clydemioides growing in my prop box, trying to smother out every other plant. Again, lots of vines here, lots of vines here. I'm going to be taking them out of the prop box very shortly before they suffocate my other plants. Absolutely love the Clydemioides. One of my favorite species. Gorgeous, gorgeous bumpy texture. Not velvet, but not shiny either. I'll flip so you can see the back sides. Really intricate, gorgeous leaves. I imported these Clydemioides a while back. I will say I lost every leaf, lost every root. Not every root, pretty much every root. Died back to a bare stem. And then from that, the growth point continued to grow. And I managed to air layer and remove those top portions. I lost one, and what you see here is the remains of the surviving plant. I will say it was not an easy import. The leaves are very thin. The stems are thin, the roots are thin. It's quite different from other Anthurium. And importing is also quite different from other Anthurium. Would highly recommend growing this species in as close to 100% humidity as you can give it. It can do tent conditions. It just won't be as happy. Next, I'm going to talk about another Dressleri. Here is an NSE Dressleri X Self seedling. So this is the seeds Enid sells, which is her dress X Self. Originally an RGF1 from J. Vanini. I was looking for the screenshot from her website, but it doesn't say that anymore. So if that changed, I'm sorry. My information's out of date. But pretty sure the mother plant is an RGF1. So this is an RGF1 X Self. Been growing this one from a butt cutting for a little bit now. It started to take off. It's got its own root system. It's doing well. I'll make sure to insert parent plant pictures. I will say, like most dress, it's not the fastest, but it's not particularly slow either. I find it's pretty consistently working on a leaf. Next, I'm going to talk about this Anthurium red spider. It's an interesting hybrid. I'll insert pictures of what it's supposed to look like. I don't have any pictures of this specific specimen all grown out, but this is a little butt. It's got its third leaf on the way. Pretty excited. It's a very interesting plant. Not much to say when it's this small. Next to it here, I've got a prop of my Anthurium pallidiflorum. Cute little guy right here. It started to root off its chonk. And actually, I see another growth point now that I'm looking at it, popping next to the one right here. And this is a division of my other pallidiflorum. I keep taking butts because I really like this pallidiflorum. It's really nice and skinny. This was a cutting I took few months ago, so it bounces back pretty fast from cutting. I want to say last, there's some halomycans in the corner here, just a bunch of little node cuttings. I got this as a cutting from Natasha, the Planted in Platinum on YouTube and Instagram. This is one of the philodendrons I really do enjoy growing. I'm a sucker for variegation that warps the shape of leaves. And it's white variegation, which is always a plus. I did forget a plant. Right here, I've got 2 extra spicy special little cuttings I took of the Voldemort X Self from Woohoo. Both of them have activated multiple nodes and the divisions of my Valdi Self from Woohoo. So very, very excited to be growing these out. So my preferred method for rooting these sort of butt cuts, you've seen a few of them now in here. I like to, when I take the piece off the mother plant, I like to prune the root system down pretty heavily. I think a proportionate amount of root to stem is an important thing to do. It's hard to describe, but you sort of get a feel for it. I find if you leave too many roots, it rots, and that rot can then spread into the plant. Whereas if you just head that off and really prune down the root system, the chunks take off. But that's what I do. Don't do what I say. I take no accountability for what you do to your own plants. Next, I want to talk about this guy. Brought him out mostly because of the emergent leaf here. It's a beautiful red crystal from Tazula. Got this one from my friend Kate. I'll insert her plant Instagram. Absolutely love the color on this. I've been growing this one for not too long now. Got it as a rootless mid-cut with some leaves, and it's now growing into like an absolutely beautiful little plant. I can see some very pretty little fuzzy roots there on the surface. Very, very excited to grow this one because again, that color is insane. Next up here, we have a Magnificum ex Bevep from Dustin at Bags Plants. Beautiful, dark, velvety seedling, very promising, nice and narrow. However, I do notice that Bevep in general start out narrow and then fatten up with age. Pulled this guy out to, if you heard that weird noise, it was my cat waking up. Absolutely gorgeous emergent color. Next, I want to talk about these Woo 5X Self Red Crystals. They're from Woohoo Tropicals. Got these guys as seeds, so I've been growing them out since there were 2 or 3 leaves late last year again. They've started rooting beautifully out of these net pots. I potted them up into these not too long ago after they started to outgrow the prop box. And what's fun is they're starting to get their red crystal color. These guys are from seeds, so it won't show quite as small as the by cutting guys. Yeah, these are also red crystals. Yeah, nice dark foliage, nice silver veining that contrasts, and beautiful pink detailing on the central silver when the leaves are emergent and hardening down. One last honorable mention, this regale that recently graduated from the prop box. It should not have been in the prop box, but like I said, I like to sprout my chonks in the prop box. So that's what I did with this guy, and then once this leaf was dominating, I pulled it out, potted it up, and it's been living its life up in the tent. It took not too long from when I got it for this leaf to pop out, so I haven't had it for more than a couple months. It came from a piece of a friend. I quite like the regale. It's a larger species, so I'm really hoping to make some interesting hybrids with this. There's a few regale hybrids out there. I'm not ready to share any I'm growing quite yet, but let's just say that some of my favorite hybrids are regale hybrids. She was exposed napping, so I figured she'd come make an appearance. Thanks everyone. I really appreciate you tuning in. I post pretty much daily on Instagram at NXC Plants, same handle as here. And here were some of our small plants and props that we're excited to be growing this spring. Thank you. Bye.